welcome to my book journal video. I have consistently kept book journals for the past several years for my use, which is a non-aesthetic but very functional, low effort, low maintenance, but very high fidelity in my experience. I've shown you guys my previous journals before and you guys actually really love them, which I love that so much for us, okay, period. And it's pretty exclusively just like a collection of quotes or paragraphs from the books that I read that I really love or really remember or really make me feel something. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys the newest iteration of my book journal method. And guys, there have been some new additions that I think have really leveled up my book documentary game and how well I remember these books. And to do that, I am going to take you guys through a full book journal session with me documenting the newest book that I've read. And actually, let's just start right there about which books I actually journal. I don't journal every single book that I've read. I track every book that I've read on Goodreads, but some books are just not important enough or were not impactful enough for me that I think that it's worth journaling or that there's anything even worth journaling. And that is like totally fine. I don't think that you need to journal every single book. I like my book journals to be a compilation or archive of all of my favorite books. And then it's just like a high potency one dose of every single book that has changed my brain chemistry. Okay, so now let's start with our newest victim. Of course, I need to get my pencil case out, and I don't use fancy stationery at all. I use a mismatch of just like whatever is near me. So here's my current lineup. It's been this way for years because when are our markers running out of ink nowadays when everything is paperless? Save the turtles. Also grabbing my phone to use the Kindle app so we can grab the book that we're going to be journaling. I guess I could also grab just my Kindle, but it's just faster on my phone. We're going to start off every new entry by going into our table of contents. You can see I was doing 2 entries per line at the start to conserve space, but honestly I'm just like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to read that many books into this journal, so like who cares, go ham. This is not an elaborate system. I literally just number the books, so we're on book number 19, and then I go and check on which notebook page we're on so I can put that in the table of contents. Also, I literally just do these by hand, which that might sound kind of like a nightmare, but it really isn't at all. Just like every so often, just go into your notebook and just like add like 5 page numbers. I promise no amount of printed page numbers is worth like the $30 Moleskine freaking. Just kidding. If Moleskine, you're watching this, I love you. So after putting the book in the table of contents and the page number, I'll go in, and today, oh my gosh, Merry Christmas to us, because this book entry is starting on the right hand page. So I just put the title and the author, and nothing crazy here. You can like change up the handwriting or the style or whatever you want. I was someone who changed my personality and handwriting every single day of grade 6, so I get it. I also put the star rating. Does the star rating mean anything? Not in this economy. So your table of contents should look like this, and then your journal page should look like this. And if you're feeling saucy, which I for the most part will feel saucy about this, I will choose a color and go over the title and the author depending on the aesthetic of the book cover. And this is really based all on your diploma from the School of Vibes. Like it truly is just like you do whatever you think the vibe is. If you're curious, I am using this highlighter pack from Sharpie, I guess. I got these from ages ago, probably from Staples, good old Stapler. And then the pen that I'm using is another big pen, also from Stapler. So you can see where I was getting the inspo from with the cover of this book. I don't do this every single time, but I did for this book because when I read books, I try to find like a sentence that I think sums up the entire message of the book from my perspective, and I highlight it. And so I found the highlight for this one, and I'm actually just starting this entry with that right at the top. For other books, what I'll do is like highlight that quote in a different highlighter color so I can color code it when I'm like writing all of the quotes from the book. But this time I switched it up. Shake it. Now let's get into the thing that you actually would not catch me dead doing on my previous book journals, but now I understand the appeal, and it's writing a little bit about what that book was about. And I want to get better at making these like shorter, and this isn't about trying to recap everything. It's not like a 16-part recap on TikTok. What you want to do is try to encode what happened in the book, but integrate that with like your reaction or your thoughts and opinions about what was happening in the book. And this is the part that really helps you remember. It encodes it deeper into your memory, because psychology fun fact, the deeper that you want to encode a memory, the more active work you're gonna have to put into encoding it. That's what makes it last. And these can be as short or as long or as elaborate or like literally nothing at all as you want. And it's probably going to differ by the book also, depending on like what exactly it was about this book that you cared about. Like if you actually didn't care about the plot at all and you just like the writing, like maybe you would just say like, yeah, I kind of didn't like the plot, but I liked the writing. The thing I liked most about this book was actually how the plot ended and like a plot twist. So I actually did have to write a substantial amount of the plot. And what I did for this book specifically is I like put all these plot events in a flowchart, because I'm not going to spoil what happened in this book. I'm going to blur all this out actually, because even just knowing this can be a bit of a spoiler. But like the chain of events and like why every event happened and how they affected other events is like the whole point of this book. So I did end up putting it into like a flow chart. Also, I'm trying to give future me a W, because if I continue this series, I'm telling my kids that this flow chart was the man of recaps. So it can be like part recap, part book review, part journal introspection. But after I do my little narrative description section, then we move on to the quotes compilation, which is basically a highlight reel of the book. I normally block off the two sections with like some kind of colored border. When all else fails, you just do the mini heart border. It works for everything, but I have been known to spice it up a little bit depending on what I think would suit the book. Again, Vibe University. And then this is when we went to the Kindle app, which very conveniently compiles every highlight that we've had through the book in chronological order, and you just Control C, Control V. I've had books where I just copy down actual complete pages of the book, and I've had other books where it's literally just like 3 lines. I also put borders between the quotes. Again, it's based on vibes. I've also done it before where I literally don't have a colored pen or just don't feel like it, and then I will just put like a long dash, which, fun fact, in my very first original book journal, which I don't know where it is anymore and it's really, really sad to me, the reason I would do the dash is because I would put like what page it comes from, but then I started reading too many ebooks and I stopped putting the pages, but I just kept the dash. Okay, and now that we finished that, I decided that I wanted to go in and add some doodles, which I'll do sometimes. I was feeling really zesty. I was pulling out all the stops for you guys. The very last step is actually my favorite part about my whole entire book journal, and it's the book index. Now, I know that my elementary media literacy education hates to see me coming. Now, you may have noticed these little small numbers beside the quotations, and these numbers correspond to categories that I created in my index. So down the left are the numbers of all the categories, and then on the right are all the page numbers that have quotations that belong in each index category. So for example, category number 6 is Men in Love, and I see that there is page 8 indexed. So if we go to page 8 and we find the quotation that has the little 6 beside it, we know that that is the quote that has a man being in love, and it's sickening, and I love it. On the other hand, if there is a quote that I come across with a number and I'm curious about why I thought it was really important, you can just go to the index. This one was indexed as category 12, and if you look, it's on page 22, which was also marked in the index beside category 12, so you get it. What I like about this is that you can make any category as niche as you want. For example, I love you think I'm blank, as in, oh, you think I'm cute, you think I'm pretty, you think I'm hot. When the other person slips it in accidentally and super casually, it's just a very hyper specific piece of dialogue that I'm such a sucker for. So feel free to get as niche or creative or whatever you want with it. These are all of the categories that I have so far, and I add new ones every single time. So this time I added a new category, which I wanted to use for different definitions or descriptions about what love is. The book that we just journaled had a quote that gave a really cool description that really resonated with me, so I definitely wanted to index it. I get a little bit niche and creative with the name, so this one I called What We Talk About When We Talk About Love. It's based on a book title with that same name, but I just really like that title. So since this was category 14, we're obviously going to put a little 14. I put a circle around it beside the quote, and then I created another category, category 15, called The Female Gaze. There was actually a quote that I remembered from a previous entry that I knew fell into this category, so I went back and then I indexed it, which is the great part about this whole system, which is that you can just keep indexing, and it's a really nice way to try to find quotes, and one quote can be indexed into multiple categories, etc.